Hello YouTube, Canadian Edge here, and we are going to do a knife review today. The knife on the table that we have with us today is the Ganzo Firebird FH51 GR. And this knife, it has a blade length of 3.1 inches. Open, it is 7.28 inches, and closed, 4.13 inches. Has a D2 steel on it. And the weight of this, it is 3.7 ounces. The handle, it is a G10 on it, and it does have some texturing on it for grip purposes, although not a whole lot. The pocket clip on it, it is right hand only, tip up, and not quite deep carry. You can see a little bit of it sticks up, if I get it in the camera, past the end of the pocket clip there. It is a flipper opening, so got the flipper tab, and it is a liner lock. It has a lanyard hole and jimping, very aggressive jimping on the back there. And it has a bit of a finger choil. So I hadn't had, I think, is this the first Ganzo I've had? I've seen other Ganzos and thought, you know, one of these days I'd like to take a look at, see what Ganzo has to offer. And so I saw this one and figured I would pick it up and take a look at it. And yeah, it seems like a pretty decent knife. It is centered down the middle there, you can see. And there is no blade play, right or left, up or down. It sits in there nice and solid. So that's a positive when you're working with these knives. You always like to see that happen. Size comparison. Let's check out. We have the Bug Out from Benchmade. So basically the same size. Ontario Rat 2. Again, pretty much the same size. They're pretty close. We'll try a couple bigger knives and see how they look. We have the Civivi Cogent, which you can see is a little bit longer, and also the Sencut Saxi, which again has got some length on this knife. So this would be a mid-size knife for anybody looking for mid-sized knives. And sharpness. Let's see how this thing does. I was actually quite happy with how decently sharp. I've used it for different things, to open packages and cut down boxes and, you know, things like that. Actually, I did use it to get some zip ties off of a package, which was nice, and you can see it cuts through a zip tie quite easily. How about fake paracord? Cuts through that without a whole lot of effort. And through garden twine, because everybody has to cut garden twine at some point. It cuts through that pretty easily. So it does have a good edge on it. The D2, it is going to take a little more to sharpen that, but it will hold an edge for a long time. So a lot of people like the D2. It's an inexpensive steel, apparently, that does hold an edge quite well. So excuse me. So yes, I saw this knife looking at the Ganzos. Here in Canada, we don't have a big variety of Ganzo knives available to us. And so I liked the aesthetics of this knife. I like the blade profile. You got a bit of a swedge there. A little bit of a thumb ramp, although I don't really put my thumb up there. I stay more on the jimping. But you could when you're using the finger choil. So yeah, I like the aesthetics of it. The handle, it looks good. It's a good ratio of blade to handle. And if you guys with the bigger hands I have a medium-sized hand, so there is a little bit of room there. If you have a bigger hand, of course your little finger is going to be at the back. But you do have the different grips that you can do, and gives you different control. And the ergonomics on this are good. I find that I like the way it feels. It's a good feeling knife. And so yeah, it worked well. And out of the box, the pivot was very smooth. Very happy with the pivot. That's one of the things that I really appreciate, is when a knife opens and closes easily. And so the pivot on this is very smooth. I did put a little bit of pivot lubrication on, but I do that with all my knives. And it didn't need it, but I did it anyway. And it's very smooth action on it. So nice pivot on it. It fits the pocket well. It's a fairly slim design. You do have a bit of bulk here, but it's not that noticeable in the pocket. Sits in there nice. A little bit of it does stick up, as I mentioned before, so you don't quite have that full deep carry. The grip on it, it is okay. You can't really see texturing on this, but it does have a bit of texture to it, but not a super amount. It almost feels like a micarta instead of the G10, but it definitely not micarta. Yeah, it does have a bit of grip on it. It's not going to just slide out of your hand for sure. It has enough grip that you can get a good solid grip on it with the way they've designed the handle. So the grip on it it's a decent grip. The one thing I didn't like about this knife, and that's my usual beef, is the pocket clip. You got the screws and the pocket clip sticking up, so that's going to be excess wear and tear on your pocket. I guess they did recess the clip in there, but the screws do stick up, so it'd be nice if they made that all flush, and then you have a little less. And I forgot to mention too that the liners are skeletonized in here, the stainless steel liners, so cuts back on weight a little bit. And but it's a nice knife. I enjoy using it. As I say, I would cut down some boxes with it. I opened some packages with it and stuff, and it has a nice design for getting in. Especially, I mentioned I had to cut some of the zip ties, and so the design, it was nice. I could get under there and snap the old zip ties or cut the zip ties. And so yes, this is a knife if you're looking for an inexpensive EDC. What were they? I forget. I think they're around the $50 mark here in Canada. I will put a link to this in the description for anybody that is interested. They can look it up. But yeah, they are an inexpensive knife that you can pick up, and it seems well built, seems durable. It worked great for the jobs that I've used it for so far, and very happy with how it's performed. Happy with the pivot, nice and smooth, no problems. It's even almost dropped. Well, look at that. It's got a nice smooth action to it. Doesn't take much to close it, and you can feel that little detent right at the end that grabs it. So it's a nice knife. Is for the money. Very happy with the way this knife is and performs. So anybody looking for an inexpensive EDC, this might be one that you want to take a look at and check out, and just see if this fits the bill for your needs. And so one of these days, we should do a video on choosing a knife for your EDC. I'll have to do that one of these days. Anyway, thinking out loud. Sorry about that. Back to the knife. So the Ganzo Firebird, it well-built knife seemingly, and very happy with how it's performed so far. And I would definitely recommend this as an EDC for someone looking for a budget type everyday carry. All right, well, we'll do some more reviews coming up. Got some unboxings coming up. Excited to see what happens here in 2024, because we are now in 2024, and with the knife world and all the different varieties coming out. But check for more reviews coming up, and hit the like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I will get back to you, and we'll do this all again. But until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.